Hello, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to take a look at pop and lock tailgate security. This is a automatic locking actuator that locks the tailgate of your truck, because normally you would have to operate it with the OEM key. This is model PL8350. Looks like it has a pretty good actuator. All the wiring harnesses snap together. It comes with little wire taps and everything. The instructions say from 09 to 14, so probably really any 4th gen Ram it'll work with, 15, 25, and 35, only with the factory lock. Now that's, if whether or not you have the camera or not, it doesn't matter, but you got to have a keyhole back there. That's the trick with this. If you don't have a keyhole, then you're not going to really have the locking mechanism in there. So the instruction manual leaves some things to be desired. You get 2 diagrams, and that's really it. So we're going to open it up and see how easy it is to install. Alright, and by OEM key, this is the one you need. It slides out of the case and open up the tailgate and get it laid down. That is what it's going to look like if you have a locking tailgate. You see there you have your keyhole. So lower the tailgate, you're going to need to access the inside of it. Alright, once your tailgate's down, you're going to have some torque spit bolts. I think they're like T25, T30s. Take it off. There's 2, 4, 6. There's 8 of them. And this thing lifts off. And there you go. See, this is all grime and dirty. Clean it all out. The area you're going to be working in is right down here. So make sure all that's cleaned. And then we'll go through the process of lubrication and making sure everything works properly before installing the lock. Okay, as you can see, it's much cleaner in here. Still not perfect. It's a work truck, so doesn't really matter. Take it off and inspect it at least once yearly to make sure the mechanisms are good. So now's a good time just to make sure all this stuff is clean. We're gonna take some brake clean and just spray this area and avoid the camera. Just spray from here over. Get all that gunk out of there, work things, work the actuators manually. Then you can get the actual electronic actuator set in here after everything's greased up, and you know that it's running smoothly. That's, I think, where a lot of the hang-ups are on installations and things. People just don't take the care to make sure the actual mechanism that it's going on is working properly. So we'll get it all cleaned up and we'll see how it looks and lubricate it. Now that the lock is cleaned up, we're just going to spray some WD-40 on all the sliding joints. You want to make sure that it moves freely. Just get all the little joints sprayed in here. Don't worry about spraying the plastic here. Leave that alone, but everything in here is fine to spray. Okay, once everything is cleaned and lubricated, you're going to test it again just by moving the rod, and it's way smoother now. Positive engagement in the lock. You can add a little bit of lubricant up here at the top where the handle comes down. I would put grease there. Once everything's set up though, you want to go ahead and move the lock so you can see the 2 8mm nuts. Take those off. Alright, once you remove the 2 nuts that were right there, this whole housing will want to sag down a little bit. Just put your hand underneath to hold it, and you're going to fish the whole assembly. You're going to put it down and in like this and come back over, and everything just sits in there. It pops right on. It takes a little bit of wiggling, but nothing too hard. You got the 2 wires coming out. Make sure that your arm is locked onto that plastic right there, and go ahead and reinstall those 2 nuts. Alright, once you got everything in, just verify again that it moves. And down here there was a slight clearance issue between that spring and that tooth right there, so all we did was bend the entire assembly up like this, just a hair, to make it clear, and it's no problem. And again, you want to actuate everything, make sure that it actually locks and unlocks smoothly. And at this point you are done with this part of the installation. Now it's just matching the wiring harness up, and you're gonna have to run that down through your wiring all the way around up to your door panel. I believe it's the driver's side kick panel. Alright, you're gonna fish the harness up through the access hole right there. You don't need any fish wire or anything, it's big enough. Get it up there, and we zip tied at the natural bend in the OEM harness. and we double looped it around to put the plugs by the plugs, and everything's out of the way so the wires aren't hitting nothing and nothing's going crazy. Snip down your wire ties. You can leave it open for peace of mind until you're totally done and want to watch it work. We're pretty sure it's going to work the way it is, so we're going to put the cover back on it. And now it's all routing the harness up to the kick panel to get the power tap for this actuator. Okay, depending on how you want to have your tailgate set up, this one we do not take off. I mean, rarely, probably never will. So we ran it through the bottom here, behind the harness, the factory harness, and out through the back there. It does fit in between there, and it does close very tightly. If you want to be able to detach your tailgate often, you can leave the connection plug somewhere up here so it's easier to disconnect and tuck the rest of the wire up here. Otherwise, it's down below. We followed the factory harness all the way under, and we'll show that in a second. And we came up into the kick panel here on the driver's side. All right, we came up through the e-brake grommet right here. Just drilled a little hole through the rubber, ran it up. And in here, we found the brown with green stripe and the brown with white stripe. Now we just matched brown with green wire and brown with white with blue wire. They say find it in the big harness right here, but you can come up a little bit. They say find it in the big harness, but you can come up a little bit. Just use common sense. This one goes over into the door over here. So just find your two wires there. Again, brown with green stripe goes to green, and brown with white stripe goes to blue. They include little butt connector type things. We don't like to use that, so we just soldered it. We're going to tape everything up, and then we'll show you the routing underneath. All right, there's the wire going up into the e-brake cable. It just follows the e-brake cable the whole way down. And right around this storage box up on the tabs there. And the wire just follows it around. Continues on down. Following the e-brake cable the whole way. All the way down and back up to the tailgate. So just followed the OEM harness to about right here and ran it along the e-brake cable. And that's everything. Let's go test it out. All right, we are at the back of the Ram. As you can see, it opens up as normal. We are going to lock it. It is now locked. It is now unlocked. There you go. Simple installation. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.